rallying the world's Catholics to speak out and help persecuted Christians in Nigeria. This week, Catholic thinkers and faith advocates from around the world gather at the Congress of Catholics and Public Life in Madrid, Spain. The focus and theme of the Congress is hope. Do Nigerian Christians have greater hope for a more peaceful and secure future in light of President Trump's warning regarding the government's indifference to terrorist attacks? Well, joining us from the Madrid conference is Kevin Roberts. He's president of the Heritage Foundation. Kevin, we're glad to have you with us all the way from Madrid, Spain. The theme of this Congress is hope. So just how hopeful are attendees that President Trump's warning to the Nigerian government will help protect Christians in Nigeria?
Well, attendees at this conference in Madrid are hopeful about life because of their faith in God, obviously. But I have to say that while there's cautious optimism about the situation improving in Nigeria because of President Trump's appropriate action and the attention that that has brought, one of the problems that we're facing that tempers that optimism, to be honest with you, Gary, is the Nigerian government continues to be a problem as it relates to protecting people of faith, especially in this case, Christians, and in some cases, even more moderate Muslims who are often the target of Boko Haram. So I guess you could sum it up to say, number one, we're hopeful in a general sense because of great leadership by President Trump. Number two, realistic about the obstacles that are being faced by Christians in Nigeria, especially the government and ongoing economic problems that aggravate these religious tensions. But number three, I think what that means is that President Trump is on the right track in continuing the great foundation he laid in his first term to protect religious liberty for everyone in the world. I can tell you that attendees at the conference, and certainly all of us at Heritage, are zealously working toward that goal.
The statistics are alarming. Reportedly, more than 7,000 Christians already have been murdered this year. Since 2009, as many as 100,000 have been killed, 20,000 churches and religious institutions burned and destroyed, tens of thousands of people displaced. So what can be done short of a U.S. military response?
Well, I think what we have to be focused on is making sure that the world accepts that the facts that you just mentioned and that we mentioned in a major study we released a few days ago at Heritage are just that. They are facts. Just this year alone, 7,000 Christians have been killed by Boko Haram and their successor sort of collaborator, Islamic State West African province. And it isn't just that these two groups want to establish a Muslim state in Nigeria. It's that they see every single Christian as standing in the way. And so, short of U.S. military intervention, we're very hopeful that President Trump's public awareness pressure, in addition to reprising some of the great policies he initiated in his first term on religious liberty, will help. But the first and key thing is for the United States to exercise all of its diplomatic might where the Trump administration has done so.
Pope Leo has spoken out against the violence there and also in other countries, calling persecution a, quote, wound in the heart of the church. He believes humanitarian corridors for displaced Christians must be set up and international legal and policy measures put in place to protect religious minorities. So what else needs to be done?
Well, I think humanitarian aid is an important second step in addition to the diplomatic pressure and intervention. In fact, I was just mentioning to some other friends on this heritage trip to Portugal and Spain about the ridiculous example of USAID, which of course just took the leftist wokeism and funneled billions of American taxpayer dollars as an imposition on the cultures around the world. What we need to be doing with that money, and I applaud the administration for doing this, is having real humanitarian aid.
And Kevin, I know you are a political analyst and you work extensively on public policy issues. However, there is a spiritual element here. I worked for years reporting on persecution and serving the persecuted church worldwide. While Christians don't welcome persecution or turn a blind eye to it, we know God uses it to grow the church. Tertullian said, "The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church." So this Madrid Congress focuses on hope. That's the hope, is it not?
It sure is. I'm smiling on a very difficult topic because you and I know, and your audience knows because of our faith. While I don't think any of us want to wake up and be a martyr, we know that if we were called to that in a real sense, that is an example of God's love, but it's been the blood of the martyrs that have grown the church over 2 millennia. And if we can take any solace in this, obviously we don't question God's will. It's that those of us who are not being persecuted but can feel this with our brothers and sisters, that if we can do our job, whether we're in media or in politics or in ministry, to focus on them, to spread the gospel, that in fact, that's what God wants us to do. And so that's going to be our focus, not just at this conference, but as we come out of the conference. And I'll sum up by telling you that while Heritage, as you know, is a non-sectarian organization, we are animated very deeply by the Judeo-Christian roots of almost all of our colleagues. And I think that's what allows us to have the courage as an institution and a number of individuals to be very courageous, very outspoken on making sure that we're doing our part to eliminate religious liberty. We stand by the president and anyone who wants to end violations of that around the world.
Okay, from Madrid, Spain, Kevin Roberts, president of the Heritage Foundation, thank you for taking the time to share your insights with us.
Perfect. Thanks, man.